Good morning and welcome to the Killik & Co market update. This week there has been a growing level of concern about the virus that is spreading from Wuhan in China. So far there have been 881 reported cases and 26 reported deaths. The virus has started to spread to countries outside of China, including Vietnam, Singapore, Japan and the US. The virus is apparently quite similar to the SARS virus, or severe acute respiratory syndrome, which originated in China back in 2002 and wasn't contained until 2004. The SARS virus infected over 8,000 people and ended up killing nearly 800 people. At the time, China was heavily criticized for not doing more to contain that virus more quickly. So this time around, there's lots of international pressure on China to try and contain this new virus more quickly. China has taken a number of steps so far, including a ban on public transport that will impact over 36 million people. It's also cancelled a number of large events, including the International Carnival in Hong Kong. Now, all this closure of public transport and the cancelling of events has caused some concern about the potential impact on economic growth within China. And over the last week, we have seen a decline in the Chinese stock market. If you have a look at this chart here, you can see China's Shenzhen index over the last year, and you can clearly see a decline over the last few days. We've also seen some weakness in international travel stocks. For example, some of the large hotel chains such as International Hotels Group, Intercontinental Hotel Group rather, and Hyatt, both of those groups have had to offer customers the chance to cancel rooms in China with no penalty attached. And that will clearly be quite a big hit to profits for some of those major hotel chains. So no doubt most companies within the international travel space will be hoping this virus is contained as quickly as possible. And while we're on the subject of Chinese health, it seems an appropriate time to talk about the growing level of diabetes across China. Over the past few years, we have seen a rapidly growing rate of type 2 diabetes in China, and this is typically associated with obesity and poor diet. And we have seen this illness growing quickly across the country as China has become more wealthy. If you have a look at this data here from the International Federation for Diabetes, you can see that back in 2010, it was thought that 4.5% of Chinese adults had diabetes. By last year, that had grown to 10.9%, and by the year 2045, that's expected to have grown to over 14%. So these are huge numbers here, equating to tens of millions of people. And one opportunity here is for products and services within the diabetes space, and in particular, items such as glucose monitors. And this is perhaps why we saw some quite good results this week from a company called Abbott Laboratories. This company makes a well-known glucose monitor called the Freestyle Libre. That product is sold into China, and within Abbott's results this week, they did highlight annual sales growth of over 60% for their diabetes device division. So very impressive results there indeed. And it does appear there is quite a significant global opportunity for devices such as this. So please do give us a call if you would like to hear more about our thoughts on the diabetes market. And finally, this week, we've been keeping an eye on some of the commentary coming out of the World Economic Forum in Davos. And quite unsurprisingly, one of the major topics here is climate change. One of the key takeaways for us was the appetite among major corporations to sign up to a new set of accounting metrics that will measure ESG, or environmental, social and governance characteristics. At the moment, there is a huge appetite from investors to invest in companies that positively show these characteristics. But at the moment, it's quite difficult to research and see what companies are doing in these spaces. Not all companies do publish what they're doing in terms of environmental, social and governance characteristics, and others that do are not doing so in a consistent way. So it's quite difficult to do the research and to pick the companies that really are acting in an ethical way. So what's happening at the moment is the World Economic Forum has been working with the big four accountancy groups, that's PwC, Ernst & Young, Deloitte and KPMG, in order to develop a new set of accounting metrics that cover these areas. It looks as though these new metrics are going to go across 4 different pillars, including governance, people, planet and prosperity. And what was quite encouraging here at the Davos World Economic Forum was that major corporations did show a big appetite for adhering to these new metrics, and it is hopeful that a lot of these corporations will have signed up within the next 5 years. So I think that's very positive for those investors wanting to invest according to ESG characteristics. Now, moving on to the week ahead, it's another fairly busy week in the diary for us, and we are looking ahead to results from major technology companies such as Amazon, PayPal and Microsoft. That's it from us. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.